Sam Heughan Caitriona Balfe, shocking reunion in new action blockbuster, Crimson Horizon. The lights of Los Angeles streamed through the frosted glass on the 18th floor of the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. It was an April evening, the breeze carrying a slight chill from the ocean, mixed with the scent of jasmine on the terrace. Sam Heughan stood by the railing, a glass of red wine in his hand, his eyes silently scanning the flickering lights below. He had just finished the first meeting for a new project, what Paramount was promoting as an unprecedented fusion of action cinema and psychological drama. The project's code name was Crimson Horizon. The director, a young Scot who had won an award at Cannes, had mentioned something that made Sam's heart stop for a moment. We want her to be the female lead. Who? Sam asked, his voice hoarse with surprise. Caitriona Balfe. At that moment, the glass in his hand shook slightly. For a few seconds, the noise of the conference room faded, leaving only the pounding of their hearts. It had been more than 7 years since they finished Outlander, the show that catapulted them both to fame and made millions believe their love was real. But in real life, they had gone their separate ways. Caitriona got married, became an elegant icon of European cinema, while Sam focused on action cinema and launched his own whiskey brand. The world thought they would never work together again, but tonight, fate knocked softly. 2 weeks later, in London, Caitriona Balfe sat in a small cafe in Notting Hill. She was wearing sunglasses, a long beige coat, and her hands were lightly holding a hot cappuccino. In front of her was the Crimson Horizon script, thick, heavy, with the Paramount logo emblazoned prominently. Sam Heughan will play the male lead, her assistant, Emma, whispered. Caitriona pursed her lips, her eyes fluttering slightly. A gentle breeze blew through the window, making a few pages of the script flutter. Him, after all these years? She asked, her voice low. Emma nodded. The director said no one could do it better than you two. They wanted to recreate the magic on screen, magic. The phrase made Caitriona's heart flutter. She remembered the first days of filming in Scotland, Sam's bright smile, his warm eyes, the way he always made her laugh during tense scenes. But then, after so many years, the distance, the rumors, and his personal life, everything was just a memory. She sighed softly. Okay, tell them, I'll accept. 3 months later, Paris. The press conference for the Crimson Horizon project caused an international media frenzy. More than 200 reporters crammed into the luxurious ballroom of the Le Bristol Hotel. Flashes flashed as Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe walked out together. She wore an elegant black dress, he a sophisticated ash-grey suit. For a split second, the world seemed to stop. The reporter shouted, Sam, how does it feel to work with Caitriona again? Caitriona, is this the reunion fans have been waiting for all these years? They just looked at each other. A small smile flashed across their face, just like Jamie and Claire did back then, and the room exploded. Sam spoke up, there are some colleagues you will always respect. And when fate brings them back to you, you know you have to take the chance. Caitriona replied softly, if anyone believes in fate, it's definitely the two of us. The entire hall applauded. Behind the applause, only they knew that this reunion was not easy. That evening, the film crew held a small party on a cruise along the Seine. French music was playing, champagne was swirling in glasses. Sam walked over to Caitriona, where she was standing, looking at the Eiffel Tower in full light. Do you still like watching Paris at night like you used to? Sam asked, his voice low. Caitriona turned around, her eyes half surprised, half gentle. Do you still remember? I remember everything. A long silence stretched between them, only the sound of the waves gently lapping against the side of the ship. Sam looked at her, clearly feeling that time had left its mark. She had matured, become calmer, but her eyes still had the same fire as before. "This movie won't be easy," Caitriona whispered. "I heard there are a lot of live-action scenes, filmed in Morocco and Iceland." "I've never done that kind of movie before." Sam smiled. "Don't worry, I'll be there." Just like before, she let out a small laugh, a rare smile he hadn't seen in years. Just like before, as the ship passed under Pont Alexandre III, the director came up to clink glasses with them. "You two are the soul of this project. Crimson Horizon is not just an action movie, it's a story about two people who lost each other, then found each other in the storm." Caitriona was silent. Sam looked at her, his deep eyes filled with both past and present. "What a coincidence," he said softly. She smiled. Or maybe it was fate. At the end of the night, when the party was over, Caitriona walked up to the top deck. Paris was bathed in a sea of golden light. She wondered if this reunion would open up something new, or just another chapter in an old story she had tried to forget. Behind her, Sam walked up. He didn't say anything, just draped his jacket over her shoulders as the night breeze blew. Caitriona whispered, "Tomorrow we start training for the fight scene first." "I know. And I'm ready." She looked at him for a long time, then nodded. "Me too." Under the Paris sky, amid the shimmering lights and fading music, the two stars who had once walked side by side were together again, not in glory, but in a completely new beginning. The Casablanca sun was shining. The Crimson Horizon crew began their first days of filming in the dry, windy Moroccan desert. Dozens of trucks carrying equipment lined up along the sand dunes, the sound of generators mingling with the sound of helicopters testing shots overhead. Sam stepped out of the makeup tent, dressed in a sand-colored uniform, a gun slung over his shoulder, his face streaked with sundust. He transformed into Ethan Ward, an international agent pursued for treason, and Caitriona, in black tactical gear, her eyes cold but deep, was Dr. Elise Morgan, a scientist caught in a global conspiracy, and also the only woman who could make Ethan choose between love and life. The director shouted, "Action!" A loud bang. Sand flew up. Sam ran, jumped over a burning jeep, and pulled Caitriona down behind the sand dune. The scene lasted more than 40 seconds, without cuts, without a stunt double. "Cut." "Great!" the director shouted, raising his hands in applause. Sam gasped, looking up at Caitriona. Her face was covered in sand, her hair was messy, but her eyes were still bright. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice both worried and firm as in her role. "Okay. But you just saved me." He smiled. She raised her eyebrows. "This is in the movies, Sam. I know. But sometimes, I'm not sure what's real and what's acting." Caitriona was silent for a moment. A desert wind blew, making grains of sand roll down the skin. The remark, which seemed like a joke, made her heart ache slightly. The next few days of filming lasted until night. The crew set up camp in the middle of the desert, where the temperature during the day reached 45 degrees and the nights were freezing. Every evening, after the director called wrap, Sam would sit by the fire, pouring himself a little whiskey from the bottle he'd brought with him, his own. One night, Caitriona came over, wrapping a thin scarf around her neck. "You still do that?" she asked, sitting down next to him. Sam smiled, pouring her another glass. "A little warmth after a long day. Try this, something new." She took a sip. The spicy taste spread through her throat, but it was warm and strangely familiar. "Like the old days, in Sky. Do you remember that rainy night scene?" "I do." I was shaking so hard my teeth were chattering, and you were trying to act tough. And then I had a cold for 3 days. She laughed, her voice light as the wind. Sam looked at her, his smile slightly sad. I miss those days, not because of the fame, but because we were ourselves. Caitriona was silent. She knew what he was talking about, something they both had, but had lost amid the glory in their own choices. I used to think I would never return to the set with you again, she whispered. Sam asked softly, why? Because there are too many memories. She looked up, her eyes deep. When I look at you, sometimes I don't know if I'm looking at a co-star, or looking back at a part of the past. He didn't answer, only the fire reflected in his eyes, hot, but silent. A week later, the crew moved to Iceland, where the final scenes were filmed, the battle between ice and fire. The climax was when Heughan, Sam, and Elise, Caitriona, were chased on the top of an active volcano. This was the most dangerous scene, because the director wanted everything to be as real as possible. Sam had to cling to a real cliff, while Caitriona was suspended from a cable more than 40 meters high. Before filming, Sam approached her and put his hand on her shoulder. Are you sure? If you don't feel right, I'll tell the director to change the scene. Caitriona shook her head, smiling. I've been waiting for this scene since the beginning of the movie. I want to do it myself. Okay. But if I fall, you'll be the one to jump after me. She laughed, but there was a warmth in her eyes. You always have a way of making people feel safe, Sam Heughan. 3, 2, 1, action. The crew held their breath. Caitriona dashed over the cliff, her hand holding the rope, suspended in midair. The wind howled, the snow flew. Sam ran, jumped over the crack, grabbed her arm. Hold on, he shouted. The camera zoomed in on their faces, sand, snow, tears, breath all mingled together. Cut. The director shouted. The crew applauded loudly. But Sam didn't let go. He still held Caitriona, their eyes locked. A long moment, so long, that all the surrounding sounds faded away. Caitriona said softly, just loud enough for him to hear. Maybe, the scariest thing isn't falling, it's not knowing if someone will catch you. Sam replied, his voice choked up, you're always there, Cat. That night, the snow was falling heavily. The small hotel where the crew was staying was in the middle of a white valley. Caitriona stood by the window, looking out. The sky was covered in a silver blanket, silent. The door knocked softly. Sam entered, carrying 2 cups of hot cocoa. Can't sleep? He asked. No, I keep thinking about today's scene. You did well. You're stronger than you think. She turned to him. And you're still the same. Always making others believe you're safe, even when you're not sure. Sam chuckled, then fell silent. He put his cup of cocoa down on the table, moving closer to her. You know, when I filmed that scene, I didn't have to act. I was really scared of losing you. Their eyes met. About there were only a few fractions between them. Neither of them said another word, only the sound of snow falling outside the window, thick and peaceful. But then, Caitriona stepped back slightly, her voice rough. Sam, don't. We can't go back. Everything is different now. He looked at her for a long time, then nodded. I know. But at least, in the movie, we can still love each other again. She smiled, sad but gentle. Only in the movie, Sam, only in the movie. He whispered, but deep down he knew, there were emotions that were never just for show. On the last day of filming, the director announced, we've finished Crimson Horizon. One of the craziest, most beautiful movies I've ever made." The whole season cheered. Sam and Caitriona hugged tightly, longer than necessary for a professional goodbye. She whispered, "Thank you, for making me remember the feeling of being trusted." He replied, "Thank you, for coming back." They had parted ways, but in their eyes, there was something unfinished, a promise unsaid, a flame unburned.